This week, we got a slew of announcements from Biohaven, the drug company created when the old Biohaven Pharmaceuticals sold its lead asset to Pfizer about 3 years ago. The remaining Biohaven has a bunch of drugs in development for neuroscience, immunology, and oncology, and they're making good progress with a number of their pipeline programs. Although last year was a tough one for the company, as it had some very high-profile failures in some key clinical trials. Earlier this week, when I was out in San Francisco for the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference, I got a chance to speak with Dr. Vlad. He's the chairman and CEO of Biohaven. Take a look. Dr. Schwartz, welcome back to Mad Money.
Jim, it's great to be with you here again at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference to kick off 2026 and talk about our portfolio at Biohaven.
Okay, so Vlad, days matter. What does it mean, days matter?
I'll have to tell you, as a physician, patients are waiting for new therapies, and that's what drives us at Biohaven. Days matter, and we want to research diseases as if family members of ours are suffering from those diseases, and that's what we bring to bear to every one of our research programs.
Well, I should disclose that I have an agreement with you, and it's in the fantastic deck that you have. I just want people to know that. It's not about necessarily how I feel about my drug, but thank you for purchasing it. What can I say? It's about tinnitus, and I'm glad that you mentioned it.
Well, Jim, we're excited. Do you know that tinnitus affects up to 50 million Americans, and there's no approved drug therapy? So we're really enthusiastic about teaming up and doing, we hope, what we did for migraine with Nurtec OTD. We'd love to do that in the tinnitus area, and there's some really good science that we're going to advance.
Okay, so let's talk about what happened last year and how most people counted you out. And that was quite wrong, given all the new things you're doing this year.
Jim, this is biotech. We're here trying to advance, new therapies for some really hard diseases. You're going to run into bumps in the road, and that's what we do in R&D. We run studies, we get data, and then we really focus on the long term and where we want to put our resources. And this next year, we have 3 exciting platforms.
Well, go ahead, tell us. You've got the floor.
Precision immunology, obesity, and epilepsy are our 3 main focuses. We also have a diversified portfolio, which is important so that if things don't work out in one program, you can pivot to another program.
Let's talk about obesity, because yours is novel. The other guys don't have it. It would be welcome for everyone who's... It's a better version for a lot of people.
Jim, we've seen how the GLPs have transformed healthcare. We have decreases now in all-cause mortality and heart disease and diabetes and stroke thanks to these new class of agents. However, they have you also lose your muscle mass. And when you lose muscle mass, that's not good for healthy aging. It's also not good for bone density. We have a novel approach with a drug that's called T-alpha. It targets myostatin and activin. And what this does and how it's different than everything else out there is it directly reduces fat, but importantly, it increases skeletal muscle mass. We think that's a healthier way to lose weight. And we already initiated an important phase 3 trial in obesity. It's reading out this year.
Are you able to fund all the things that you talk about, given the nature of what happened last year?
Well, we have to be disciplined in the areas we are. And so now that we have data that's pointing us to some high probability wins in the near term on things like obesity and precision immunology, that's where we're going to choose to invest. And we think there's going to be upside for patients and investors.
Talk to me about degraders. What do they do?
Jim, the degrader technology we exclusively licensed from Yale University is unprecedented. It's not like anything else out there. And what makes it different is we're able to target disease-causing pathogens in your blood and degrade them and not touch anything else. Other people in the field are looking at agents that lower your immune activity and immunosuppress you in a way to treat autoimmune disease. This is precision immunology at its finest. And our best example, and we presented first ever human data this week in a kidney disease called IgA nephropathy. And in that disease, there's an antibody that decreases the function of the kidney. And with our degrader, we degrade just that antibody and we leave everything else intact in the healthy immune system. All the competitors immunosuppress patients. We think this is going to be a game changer for people suffering from IgA nephropathy.
Okay, so that's a great indication, but could there be many more? Could be a bigger drug, bigger method than we think?
The first ever human data we put out this week really validates this platform and unlocks the entire mechanism. And yes, there's a number of other autoimmune diseases that we're going after, including Graves' disease, which affects about 80 million people. And in addition to Graves' disease, other immune disorders like diabetes, myasthenia gravis, and others.
Okay, so Graves' disease, you're up against big company, Amgen. We've got, when you talk about weight loss, we're talking about Lilly, we're talking about Novo Nordisk, maybe Amgen. Vlad, you're a small guy. How can you take these guys on?
Jim, we did it before with Nurtec ODT and migraine. We took on AbbVie, and we are still, Pfizer has that compound now, but it's still the #1 prescribed CGRP. So we did it before. We think we can do it again.
Okay, so I did want to just talk about what it's like to, in your position, because you're a doctor, you know. There were many articles last year which just said you don't have enough money for the R&D, no one's going to give you money, the stock plummeted. What did you do to make sure that the company got back on the right track?
Jim, you have to stay focused on the patient, right? I've always said if we deliver and pursue paradigm-shifting treatments for patients, that's going to have a successful business model. So as a company, we have to stay focused on that. And then we talk to investors about what we've learned from some of our experiences in past studies and the value of a diversified portfolio where then you can follow the science and continue to advance new therapies.
And people were happy. The money that you raised, they wanted, you had to upsize the deal because so many people wanted in.
We had to upsize the deal. And just last week, we got contacted by a big fund who took 10% of the company.
Right.
Henderson. And so I think that reflects our track record of success in the past and the paradigm shifting technology we have with this precision immunology degrader platform.
Okay, I want to go over one that I think that I don't want to be glib about it because I know some people who have epilepsy. What's the standard of care now?
Currently, the standard of care with epilepsy needs to be vastly improved because you prescribe medications that are burdensome with a lot of side effects. People get somnolent, sedated, dizziness, and there's a new class of medicines we're pursuing called Kv7 activators. And this quiets neurons, but does so in a way that's very selective, and we don't see the burdensome side effects of the central nervous system, sedation, and dizziness. We think we can offer, much like Nurtec that treated migraine and didn't have new problems with other side effects, we think we can treat epilepsy without the burden of all the side effects.
I don't know if people understand the discrimination that people who have epilepsy get. It is something, people don't want to hire people who have epilepsy, and that's got to end.
That's right, it's got to end. We need better, efficacious treatments, but even more importantly, better tolerated treatments, right? When you treat your condition, you don't want to be burdensome from side effects that interfere with your work, and that's what we're trying to pursue here with opicalum, our lead agent in epilepsy.
Well, look, congratulations on the comeback. Again, I want to disclose that I do have a business relationship with you to try to make it so that people can live with tinnitus. And I appreciate you willing to take this on, just like I'm a spokesperson from the American Migraine Foundation. You take on things that everybody say can't be solved. It's really terrific.
We have to do that, Jim, for patients, and we have to continue to change paradigms for patients.
Excellent. That's Dr. Vlad, Chairman and CEO of Biohaven. Thank you.